Legendary and profound writer and author Maya Angelou stated that the black community is reminiscent of a caged bird, because the only way to heal our pain and oppression and combat the realities that be is through entertainment, such as singing, live performances, and storytelling. Yes, just like the rest of humanity, black individuals turn to entertainment as a form of escapism. However, more so than most of other groups, blacks have found themselves as powerless against controlling images and racial archetypes that have dominated the stage and the screen for much of our history. Avery Gordon, a social theorist, critic, and writer, described ghosts as personal and/or social figures as well as institutions that reproduce power relations and structures of inequality. Gordon will also come up with the term of complex personhood, in which individuals are shaped by their cultural tales, personal history, experience, and imagination. Ghost stories go on to explore how societal ghosts and racism shape our way of thinking and are figuratively and literally placed on the screen. Spike Lee's film Bamboozled and Donald Glover's television series Atlanta, two postmodern pieces of art and each an examination of the black experience in modern America, are very well ghost stories that detail the binds and cages black individuals attempt to overcome successfully or fail to escape tragically as they explore the crazy show that is America. Let's start off with the base of it all being minstrelsy. Minstrelsy was an era of entertainment that peaked during the early to mid 19th century and remained present throughout the mass media at the time, during the 20th century. Minstrelsy itself were comedic performances of blackness by whites in exaggerated costumes and makeup that could not be fully separated from the racial derision and stereotyping at its core. The black culture, and in the long run, was scarred by the minstrelsy era, as racial archetypes created a skewed perception of said culture from the lens of whites, and also helped to justify real harms to blacks. At the end of the day, it was all economic exploitation of the culture that wasn't even controlled by those who were propagandized, donned, and or mocked, and finally, it helped make blackness as abject, not normal. In this day and age, black individuals, even not having to be positioned in the high stands of society, like the Harlem Globetrotters, Michael Jackson, or Barack and Michelle Obama, are looked at as otherworldly, for better or worse. While minstrelsy paved the way for whites to examine upon blacks through the entertainment class and the media, this will without a doubt skyrocket after the post-civil rights movement, thanks to the creations and fostering of the Civil Rights Acts of 1964 and 1968, with the barriers of segregation dwindling down and blacks being upgraded to true citizenship status instead of the second rate. This afforded open intersection amongst the citizens of the United States through all forms of the industry, and allowing those of different races to better blend and be able to live side by side in the same neighborhoods. With black family sitcoms and comedies that gave laughs and a more gradual glimpse into the black culture, like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Cosby Show, A Different World, Family Matters, Martin, and Good Times, each saw elevated levels of success and gained mass followings and impacts on the modern black identity, and therefore affecting pop culture. Each one at the end of the day was primarily a comedy with moments of seriousness and tackling ongoing issues every now and then. As we progress into the 21st century, shows like The Wire, The Boondocks, The Get Down, and Lovecraft Country shows that deliver more layered black characters and tackling much more controversial and serious issues in a way its sitcom predecessors did not, were each shut down, and often faced more drops in ratings. For several reasons, the shows were canceled on a range from long production time, low and inconsistent viewership, tensions and problems on set, too expensive, or at the end of the day, just too controversial. Since the year 2016, Atlanta, for 4 seasons and 6 years, would go on to entail themes such as postmodernity, family and friendship, surrealism, now often dubbed as Afro-surrealism, and individualism, race, class, generational trauma, the American dream, and a very prominent aspect of minstrelsy. Postmodernism is a style of thinking, being, aesthetic that calls into question essentialism, linearity, and universality. Deeming that all truth is relative, Atlanta calls much of the black identity and experience into question, and examines upon it in a boundless and unique manner, often being delivered not just by character arc, but much more through short stories. Each of the four main characters, Ern, Alfred, also known as Paperboy, Darius, and Van, all go through a dilemma of having to evolve and break out of their current characters. The past in reference to Darius, who is very much at peace with himself and who he is, in order to not just succeed and keep their integrity as best they can, but to also survive in this American society, and especially the music industry. 3 episodes of Atlanta are key to how the entertainment industry can kill your integrity and force you to sell your soul or Sporting Waves, Teddy Perkins, and work ethic. And the first and foremost, we witness Ern and Al meet up with music executives of a music startup company. There they witness a young black artist dance on top of a table in front of a majority white audience of music executives. Reviewers of this episode called out this moment as a reference to the famous rapper and hip-hop artist Bobby Smurder doing the exact same thing in real life. YouTuber Broken About 3000 stated, Atlanta is showing you that it is a simple act that no one should ever have to go through, in reference to the young dancer in this episode, and that music executives in general are robbing young artists of their souls and dignity, all to just stay afloat. In a critically acclaimed episode, Teddy Perkins, Darius foresees the tragic tale of 2 brothers whose father raised them conditionally, and this caused a split between the 2 brothers. Teddy was the son who did not have the talent to make it in the music industry and showbiz in the eyes of his father, but the younger son, Benny, displayed phenomenal prerequisites for that lifestyle. Teddy envied Benny for this, but failed to recognize the suffering his younger brother was going through. The Perkins family are based loosely on the Jackson family, whereas Benny is a stand-in for Michael and their father for Joe Jackson. Benny, like Michael, faced the obstacles and repercussions of fame and the verbal and possibly physical abuse of his father, who, like Joe, had to have believed he was toughening them up for a tough world, a tough industry. Benny, after fame and stardom left his life, was taken care of by Teddy, who proceeded to take advantage of him and his fame and hard work. Benny, after being free from seclusion by Darius, proceeds to grab a shotgun to then kill Teddy and then tragically end himself as well. Work ethic focuses on Van and her daughter Lottie going to a black-owned studio by the name of Chocolate Land, owned by a one-time character, Kirkwood Chocolate, so that Van can perform her acting debut. As time goes on, Lottie impresses the cast and crew with her childish personality. Kirkwood then attempts to recruit Lottie as a child actor, but this worries Van, who fears that Kirkwood is just going to exploit Lottie and ruin her future. As Van confronts Kirkwood, he reveals how he creates each episode of a show through a piano typewriter, using plots and lines that add nothing to the general narrative, and using blocking rehearsals and the final cut. In short, Kirkwood is a hack who does not know what he's doing. He then attempts to recruit Lottie as a child actor, to which Van immediately dismisses. As Atlanta informs their audience about the dangers of minstrelsy and exploitation and how it harms the culture all the way down to the family dichotomy and our bonds with our fellow man, Bamboozled explores minstrelsy through the uses of the media, primarily, and how the media manages to attract black individuals and the rest of society from evolving past the ghosts of the past, and how the simulation created by them becomes reality. Bamboozled centers around the exploits and traverses of Pierre Delacroix, real name Peerless Donda, and his attempts to rise in the media industry, all the while with the original intent of escaping said industry by pitching a minstrel show to his employers. To his surprise and horror, Mantan, the new millennial minstrel show, manages to be a hit in the eyes of the audience and opinions of executives like Thomas Dunwoody. Pierre's character takes an interesting and drastic turn, as seemingly out of self-preservation and ego, he stands on his ground on the show being a satire, and then having an actual purpose to the black experience in the postmodern United States. As the egos of Pierre and Man Ray grow larger, Womack and Hopkins leave the production of the show with their dignities intact. Pierre is called out by his own mother for being a coon, as well through all the lies and aberrations the former is creating. Man Ray eventually comes to his senses, but sadly is too little too late. As he rebels against the production by dancing his casual everyday attire without the blackface, he is taken away, then kidnapped and gruesomely killed by Big Black Africa and his crew of misfits, before they are gunned down as well, with the exception of the token white member, and all before Hopkins delivers the final blow against Delacroix, for leading to not only causing the demise of her brother and lover, but also their divide as well. As Hopkins plays Delacroix the video he deliberately refused to watch, Hopkins makes it the last thing he will ever see and hear. A montage of minstrelsy and humiliation blacks have had to endure for centuries, only for Delacroix to revive it out of complicated spite and pride. Atlanta and Bamboozled. Both served as cautionary tales when it comes to the minstrelsy in this modern world. How it is harmful and dangerous to the evolution and progress of the black identity. However, it reminds us that this aspect of the entire world is now an ever-looming ghost of the past, as Avery Gordon would put it. However, both Donald Glover and Spike Lee, in their respective works, also optimistically preached individuality as a black person. This is why at the end of both pieces of art, it has its characters be reminded of the still present ghost and institution of minstrelsy, but the way to never let it take hold is to simply never buy into it, and keep a hold to your integrity as best as you can. Take ownership of your life, and never let the pride and fears of being an archetype disrupt you from your path of living, as that is what can cause you to make the dangerous simulation of reality. With that, I am Mr. Morale, and this right here was a big discussion.